What it do, everybody? Your boy is back on the grind another time. Today is like day 5 of LSA work. And today, I'm not gonna bore you at all from what I'm gonna be doing today. I'm actually gonna be going over some of the wiring. Pretty much the wiring is already done to make the engine actually run and start and all that. It's just me routing wires to just different locations where they should go and just really just kind of cleaning things up, as you guys have already seen when I worked on this side of the engine. So what I'm actually gonna do is, again, just clean up some of that wiring harness over here on the right side, kind of get things temporarily, I guess, set in place, so to speak, until I kind of know more of where I want things to go, and then we will kind of go from there. I have an idea of how I want to route this big whole harness here, and so that's what I'm actually going to be doing today. I did have to cut 3 grounds in order to get one of the wiring, the part of the wiring harness that went under the car. I had it actually routed under this way, going to the starter. I'm actually going to try to see if I can go up and behind the engine over the bell housing and down to the starter instead. So hopefully that'll work. We'll see. If not, then I might work on trying to extend those wires, just because I don't want to run it under here. I just think it'd be a far better and cleaner install if I could just kind of hide everything and run it up and behind. I didn't know how much room I would have from the blower, but now that it's on, I'm actually going to have a fair amount of room, and I think it's should work out really well. Again, the 3 wires that I cut are actually right here. Just those 3 grounds, and those grounds go to a common ground junction, and so it should be really fairly simple just to kind of solder them back together, and I should be good there as well too. So other than that, again, it's just kind of just routing wires where they should go. This is the I think this is the IAT sensor here. I think that's my map sensor there. So I'm going to kind of put them in their place and then just kind of see how long the wires are, because I know these 2 are really long because I had to extend them, and or at least I had to extend this one on my previous build because it was actually up here. And then we'll just kind of go from there, y'all. I guess I can kind of mock up my fuel system, so to speak. I don't have a fuel pressure regulator yet, but my 2 fuel lines are there and there. I think that one is the return, and the one hiding down there is the feed. So I can kind of see where I can put that. I don't really know exactly where I can put it. I probably would have to mount it either somewhere like here on the corner or something like that. But if I do that, then I'm gonna have to make those wires longer. I would really like to see if I could avoid doing too much mods to the lines, but who knows, I'm probably gonna have to make new lines, or at least a new line or something like that. But I don't know, man. We'll see how that works. So anyways, I'm gonna go ahead and attack this again. I'm gonna do this all off camera because wiring takes forever. So it's not like I'm actually rewiring the whole harness and it's like, you know, vital information as far as, you know, what needs to go where and what ties into what. It's literally just cleaning up the harness and put it in its place where I want it to go. So I'll chime back in after I get some of it done. All right, you guys, so I've been at this probably for maybe a couple hours now. One thing that I've actually feel really good about, and this is kind of off subject, is I've found that working on this in just like spurts or just slight, you know, increments, comparatively, or just slight increments, you know, versus compared to what I usually do. Usually when I come out here and work on this, it'll be for like hours and hours and hours until I get everything done. Then I usually get stuck and flustered and whatever, and then I find that I can't think straight and whatnot, and it just ends up being bad. And then I have to come back and revisit it the next day or 2 later. But what I found with this is I've been trying something new, especially since I've been busy, just kind of just working on it, obviously when I can, and right now when I can is usually the weekends, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, possibly a Wednesday. But I've been at it kind of Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and I've been coming out here working on it anywhere from 2 to 4 hours, and I feel that I've been a lot more productive, a lot more fresh, and things has been going like really, really good. So I might try to continue this. Well, I will continue this here and moving forward. I mean, obviously if it's something like, you know, you need to get the car on the road immediately and you know you spend all night to try to get it done because you got somewhere to go or a car show to get to, then, you know, then that's, you know, a situation that you just have to deal with. But man, with this, I've been finding that I've been really effective and efficient in doing things just kind of just in short spans. So anyways, this is kind of my thought and kind of how I feel. But enough about that. I've been going at it with the wiring. Probably doesn't look like much, but I've actually have gotten a lot done. I kind of got everything routed, just laying on top of the car, kind of like where it's gonna go, or wires that I need to extend. So over here, these wires that are kind of laying up there on the cowl, that goes to the O2 sensor. So that was actually already routed that way. So O2 sensor on the passenger side, and then the other one actually goes to the crank sensor and the starter. So it's actually longer than the O2 one, so I think that'll work. I'm pretty sure that'll work. Like I said, I had it routed way under here and then kind of going that way, but now I'm going to have it tucked in back there so it's kind of out the way and hidden, and hopefully that will work. I'm pretty sure that it will. Wires over here. Now this is the wire, the main harness that goes to the PCM. I have it tucked way under there. So what I did is, you know, I actually thought about kind of hiding it back here. Like, you know how sometimes you see people hide hoses and things like behind the fender, between the fender and the inner fender well, but it's just gonna be too short, and I just didn't feel like, you know, taking off the fender and whatnot, but it's just gonna be too short anyway. But what I found out, that I already had this here, and this going through it, and so that was already there. Then it went over here and went over the top to my truck intake. But I had an extra few of these laying just around from an old harness, probably from this harness I just stashed away. I kept all my clips and everything, so just in case I ever need to use them, and they came in handy. And they already had holes in the fender, the inner fender well, probably for, you know, something like this. And man, the lines of the fender and everything kind of makes it seem like it goes together, you know, like it just, I don't know, this is kind of weird that it kind of worked out that way. So what I did is I ran it up behind the brake lines, and I actually kind of played with it. Like if I came down here and went over here like this, and it would look kind of the same as it was before, and I didn't want that. I didn't want a big harness kind of going over, even if it was to the back. I just didn't want that harness to go over there. So I thought, how can I get it back and hide it a little bit more? You know, also I had to be careful because of the headers and the steering column too. So I didn't want to get it caught up in that. So what I had to do was undo the brake lines, and then I pulled the brake lines back, move the harness up and behind them, put the brake lines back in, and man, I think that'll work. So I think when I have all the nice loom on it and everything, and I have everything nice and tidied up and all that, and I probably will also hook it to the booster, the brake booster. There's like little slits in the brake booster just around the outside of it, so I'll probably just zip tie it or get another clip like this there and hook it up to that in there so it doesn't bounce around, it doesn't interfere with the steering or anything like that, or accidentally fall up on the back of the header. And I think I'll be good, man. I think that's probably where I'm gonna route it. You know, it's not totally hidden, but it's out the way, and I think with that nice mesh loom, it'll look really good. As far as other wires, I think the passenger side injector wires are gonna work perfect. They were already routed over this way, and I think they're just long enough to be perfect. I kind of have them kind of setting in their places right here. So this is one here, this is one here, that one, this one's already latched in. So we'll see kind of how that works. If I have to extend one, we'll see. See, it's already kind of tight, but you know, I might have some room where I can pull it a little bit tighter and whatnot. But if I have to extend it, then I'll just battle with that later. Over here is a different story. I actually will have to extend several wires over here. So if we're taking a look at them here, so this is my harness, or the injector side harness for the driver's side, and way too short. I mean, it's just not gonna fit. So, and plus if I wanna route it under here and go back behind, my thought is to go along the main harness and then just come over this way, and then that way it'll be all streamlined there. So definitely gonna have to extend. I'll probably end up ordering some wires, different color wires, so that way they kind of just match and flow, and that should be good to go. So it's not a huge deal. I can do that. What I'd probably do is when I have everything installed, I'll go ahead and snip the wires, put the wires in where they need to be, and then I can kind of gauge how long that they need to be. These wires here will also probably have to be extended as well. This is the TPS pigtail, the Ict pigtail, and the alternator. So these go into the throttle body, which will be right here. So you know, I'll mess around with it, you know, maybe since I'll have a big, so all my accessories will be right here. So I'll have my alternator and my power steering right here. You know, I thought about, since the alternator is going to be here and it's just a big unit, maybe I'll just route the alternator right here, and then I won't have to route it up along around here like that. So that'll probably be the smartest thing to do. And if that's the case, since I'll have that big bracket here, maybe again I can just go straight over here, hide it behind the bracket, and then be okay. So that's something I can attack later. So I might be in the clear, y'all. I mean, I might not have to do too much just to rework this harness for this LSA unit. One thing that I will have to do is extend or make a new fuel line here. And then this is the out line coming from my tank, and this is it was perfect for my truck intake, but because that's what I made it for. But I mean, to get it to here, that ain't gonna work. So I thought about making a union of some sort just to kind of save time, but I don't know. I'll take a look at it. I really don't like that, because I just don't want a potential other leak point. Actually, that's what I did down there with my transmission cooler. The line was too short, so I made a separate line that I just got another fitting on this little swivel fitting, and I tied those together and then screwed those in together and then made it work. And so that actually worked out really good. So, you know, that's another option too. I don't know, we'll see. I'll kind of think about it. That will save me time, but I don't know, man. We'll see about it. This is my return line, and my return line is a little bit longer. I don't know. It just all depends where I can put my fuel pressure regulator. And since my return line is here, you know, maybe I can mount my fuel pressure regulator, you know, somewhere like on the rail or somewhere, you know, kind of close by. So we'll see. I think, well, this is a Schrader valve. So I know sometimes people use the Schrader valve as a return line. But since I'm gonna have to get a fuel pressure regulator, that'll be my best bet to use that as my return. So we'll just have to see where I can mount it and kind of go from there. I really don't know. I mean, there's a lot of different mounting points on this coil also too, but I don't want to have to deal with the potential of gas leaking on the header. But I guess since this is like this anyway, I would have gas going straight to the header, and I don't know. I don't know if it's so much gas leaking on the header. I think oil can cause more fire than gas getting on the header, but I don't know. We'll see about that too. So another one that I had to do, so this is my IAT sensor, and my IAT sensor used to be over here. And so what I did was, because I actually had to extend that because it used to be, gosh, where was that sensor at? I think it was more towards the back. But when I had to extend it on my own, and so now I actually took it out of the loom, de-loomed it, and just wrapped it around, and it actually went right there. And my map sensor is also tucked away somewhere down here somewhere, and that also fit too, so that actually went right there as well, so I might not have to extend that. So a lot of things kind of lined up and worked out great, and we'll just kind of just keep going and keep plugging away and see where it takes us, y'all. So all right, you guys, what is up? It is the next day, and I actually wanted to add on to the video just a little bit, just to kind of show you some of the wires that I extended, what I'm doing, and talk a little bit more, just a little bit more about the accessory drive and what I decided to go with. So first things first, probably spent about 3 hours, maybe, yeah, about 3 hours extending these wires, man. And this was just the injector side of the driver side of the engine, man. And this is, gosh, the wiring is so tedious, because you got to figure out where you want to run it, the length, and cut wires and extend them, and pain in the butt. So still looks a little bit messy, but it's far improved from what it was before. So what I did is, again, as you guys saw in my previous video, I routed the main part of the harness right here, and then under here under the brake booster, and it'll go over that way. The injector were really short, because obviously it was, the harness is to go over to here, and then on top, and the main part of the harness is to sit up here. Well, since I routed it that way, that means some wires are probably going to be short. In this case, the injectors and the main power for the coils is short, which is still right here. I haven't extended that yet, so I'll do that another day. But all the injector wires are all lengthened and good to go. Now this one is extra long, only because I since I have these adapters from truck to the LSA style injectors, I totally just didn't even think about it. So when I lengthened this one and I made it to fit down here, so you can see the wire looks a little bit more in line with everything else, and I realized, oh, I have adapters, put it on, and now it's like super long. So, but I'll work with it, and you know, I'll just stuff it in the harness if I need to. It's better to have a little bit longer than cut them short. So I'll just deal with it at a later time. But the next steps would be to basically just wrap everything, and I'll use my nice split loom on that as well. These actually came with this like hard plastic loom. I'll probably change that, but yeah, I'm actually really happy about that. This is the tedious side of the work when you're doing engine work and customizing your stuff yourself, and oh man, it just gets a little tedious, but you know, it's all worth it at the end. You know, I'm glad I could do this on my own versus sending it out to get worked, which I really don't mind, and actually I really was going to do that. However, since I am going to keep the ECU, the PCM right here, then there was no need for me to really send it out. So just do this myself and be good. On the passenger side, the injectors actually extended out to be perfect. I think it might have been just a tad short, but now that I realize that I have the injector extensions, then they'll fit perfect. And the only thing I have to worry about is the main power for the coils. It's kind of just sitting over the edge there, so we'll see if I have to extend any of that or if I can just work with that as is. So I'm really happy about this, y'all. It's pretty much coming together. The next steps would be, again, to extend this wires, or those wires there, that pigtail, and then when I got everything on and when I have the throttle body on, then I can start worrying about where I want to put the how I want to run the TPS sensor wire and the IAC and that kind of stuff. So stay tuned for that. I probably won't really touch on any more of the wiring until it's pretty much all done, just because, like I said, who wants to really kind of see you wiring and extending wires, cutting wires, and stuff like that, you know, unless I was, you know, pinning certain things, places that needed to be done, then, you know, we could talk about it. But, you know, it is what it is. I just want to at least show you kind of how I wired that and how it's going to look in the end. Also, just to talk about the accessory drive. So I actually ordered pretty much everything that I needed for the accessories, with the exception of the harmonic balancer down there. Since that's the truck one, I'm gonna have to run a different one since I'm going to run Corvette accessories. And there was one other thing. Oh, the power steering pump. I'm also going to have to change to I think a Corvette style from a 97 to 04, I believe. So I'm gonna have to do that route per the brackets that I'm gonna be running, which are the brackets from Ict Billet, which I'm super excited about, man. That's what I wanted to go with. And come full circle, I'm going to get to run those. There's only one potential issue, possibly. And I also ordered my water pump. And speaking of the water pump, which I was gonna talk about next, I'm going to run the ZL1 water pump, which actually locates this water neck over on this side, and it kind of actually shifts the pulley a little bit over to the side here, and then you're gonna have a series of bolt holes where you mount different things, and obviously mount the water pump to the block and all that. But I'm not exactly sure what most of the holes were on it. I'll try to show a picture here so you can see what I'm talking about. On this side, I'm assuming maybe they were for the tensioner, if you were going to use a stock tensioner. But what I also bought is from LSX Concepts. They make a supercharger dedicated drive tensioner setup. So since I'm running the CTS-V pulley, then it'll allow me to run this blower on its own dedicated drive. And LSX Concepts has a couple different kinds. They have just their first entry LSA blower tensioner. Then they have their race drives that they have the next step up, and then I think they have another one that's above that. So I just got the entry level, so to speak, one, just because this thing's gonna just be kind of daily driven. Gonna get on it here and there every so often, but I really wanted this to run on its own dedicated drive system, and so that is why I went with the Corvette accessory spacing. I could have just ran with the truck spacing and made it work that way, but you know, with my Pro Charger build and how hard I made that work to run all the accessories along with the blower all together, I just knew that the engine could perform far better with all the accessories on its own, and then the blower on its own, and all that. I just, you know, at the end of the day, I just really wasn't comfortable with it. And if I'm gonna spend the money now, might as well do it now. The only issue that I might have is the LSX Concepts LSA blower tensioner setup, dedicated drive setup, might not work with the AC bracket setup from Ict Billet. Now, I did like hours of research on this. Their website says that it doesn't work, and of course their website is going to say it doesn't work just because they want you to buy theirs. But LSX Concepts does not sell the old pancake style R4 compressor bracket setup for these cars. Only Dirty Dingo does, and they only make truck and Camaro brackets, but they don't make Corvette style spacing. Now, I talked to the guy today. He was actually kind of an ass on the phone to me, but anyways, you know, that's why I sending my stuff back to him. Anyway, that's another side story. But he said that the pancake style compressor does not work on the LS engine, and well, at least in Corvette spacing, he said that. So I was like, huh, okay. And I didn't want to argue with him because I had already knew Ict Billet has one. They have one for Corvette spacing, they have one for Camaro spacing, and they have one for truck spacing. And they actually have one for LSA as well. So they have 4 different ones. So I called Ict Billet just to confirm before I ordered. I said, hey, I see you have your R4 pancake style compressor bracket for Corvette spacing. I was like, so am I gonna have any issues running this bracket setup with your Corvette spacing for your power steering and alternator and stuff like that? And so I just wanted to be totally sure before I ordered it. And he says, yep, you'll be perfectly fine. You order that correct one with the Corvette spacing, you'll be good. He says, I don't know. Basically, he's just saying, I don't know why the other guy would tell you that, but it is what it is. So with that being said, LSX Concepts website says that their LSA blower tensioner setup is not compatible with other makes and models from other companies. When I look at the pictures side by side from there, they do have a Sandin AC bracket setup that they do sell that works with their LSA blower setup. So when I look at, and I'm sorry this is long and drawn out, but just in case you guys are wanting to know about this later on, it's probably good information. But when I look at their setup, the way the belt is routed and everything, it looks pretty dang close to what I would need to run the particular setup that I'm gonna go with. So with that being said, I actually just went ahead and I'm trusting my instincts and I'm just gonna order it. And I figured I'll just deal with it when it gets here and then just kind of go from there. If it doesn't work, then I'll figure it out. Worst case, what I can do is go ahead and take this compressor setup out, which is gonna suck because I just put this in brand new like 2 years ago. And you guys know I really don't drive the car too much, but a lot in the summertime. So what I probably have to do is basically just go with the Sandin style or just eliminate the AC, which I don't want to do because I want to be able to use it. So I can go with their Sandin style bracket setup, compressor, and just have lines made, which I might run into a problem with, but we'll deal with that later. And then I could save this one for the Chevelle if I want to add it on. So that's the worst case scenario, and then I'll be good to go with that. And then I can still drive the car, hopefully, with the ZL1 tensioner that I could put on the water pump. I don't know if that's going to interfere with this bracket, but you know, we'll see. So I don't know, hopefully I can make it all work. Worst case, like I said, I could take this off, just evacuate the system and call it good to go. Other than that, man, that's kind of where we're at. So I'm pretty much on a pause because I can't really do a whole lot else further until I get the parts in, and none of them are gonna be in until like the first week of January. And so I'm kind of stuck. Really, I'm just kind of stuck. So I mean, I can do a few little odds and ends, like I still have to put my transcooler back on and just minor things, but I really can't do much else until I get that stuff in. So with that being said, oh, and I guess you're probably wondering why I'm not using the bracket setup for the for this car that came with the kit. Well, I can't because it's for truck spacing and I'm unable to use it now. This is actually it right here. If I could open it up. So really good kit. It's actually unlabeled, unmarked, but it's on the, there's a stamp on the main part of the bracket that says LSX Innovation. So everything else is pretty blank, but it's a good kit. I mean, nothing wrong with it. I actually was gonna run it, but just it'll be in my best interest just to run the Corvette style spacing and just call it a day. So you know, worst case, like I said, I have to take the AC out and just kind of figure out what I want to do with that. Enough rambling, y'all. I mean, that's it. I'm gonna go ahead and call it and get out of here, man. But shoot, we are on our way. I'm tired. Wiring sucks. but I'm getting there, and I'm glad that I actually got that done. That's the most that I'm probably gonna have to do as far as reworking the harness, with the exception of a few other wires that I might have to extend or cut. So I'm gonna go ahead and get out of here, you guys. You guys know what to do. Like, comment, subscribe, share, do all that good stuff. Stick with me. You know we got this, man. I'm out. Deuces.